Hi there, and welcome back to Eye of the Beholder. As promised, we're going to be looking at the various Red Dragon minis this time around. And like our last video, we'll be adding a look at one of the secondary chromatic dragons at the end. Let's go to it. Red dragons are the cruelest, most destructive, and most terrifying of the chromatic dragons. The somewhat comedic Turner Themberchaud, known by some as Big Fat Dragon, in the D&D Honor Among Thieves movie is most definitely not the standard. Vain and confident, covetous and cunning, highly intelligent but capable of flying into a rage at the drop of a wand, they are not to be trifled with by anyone but the very strongest of PC bands who can withstand their fiery breath weapon and razor-sharp teeth and claws. An encounter with a red dragon will either result in the battle of a lifetime, or a great story for your players to tell as they are rolling up new PCs. Because of the TPK. WotC recognized the power of the Red Dragon by making it the very first large-sized dragon in their second set, 2003's Dragon Eye. This mini ruled the early D&D mini battle map, standing tall on its base, raised on its hind legs with mouth agape and foreclaws extended. Paint-wise, it's mostly red, but with a slightly paler underbelly and white teeth, claws, and spikes. Shout out to the coloring on the wings, going from blood red to almost black top to bottom. Great effort right out of the gate from WotC. Score: Paint 20, Pose 22, Playability 20, Pizzazz 23, for a score of 85. A year later, we get our first Red Dragon Wormling in the Giants of Legend set. Along with a blood red body, we get a bright yellow underbelly that really pops. Pose-wise, nothing special, just kind of standing there nonchalantly, one foreleg raised, more in a friendly greeting than a threat to hack and slash. Playability is okay, but limited by its rarity. You really need at least a couple wormlings for a decent Mama Dragon lair battle. Score: Paint 14, Pose 12, Playability 12, Pizzazz 13, for a score of 51. From the same Giants of Legend set, we get a much more impressive red, the huge Red Dragon. Here the paint is a little darker, and the underbelly is more a burnt orange than the bright yellow of the previous mini. Horns, claws, and wings tips have darkened with age as well, leaving only the fangs pearly white. Posed on a rock outcropping, to me this red appears as lord and master of his domain, either gazing over his treasure hoard, or perhaps looking down upon a hapless village he is about to decimate. Score: Paint 23, Pose 25, Playability 25, Pizzazz 24, for a score of 97. In 2006, WotC rendered the word miniature completely meaningless with this special release of a colossal red dragon. Good God, look at this monster. Color? Well, it's red, but with a nice translucency to the wings. Up on its hind legs in the classic mouth agape, claws out pose, but it has an interesting accessory. Ta-da! This mini comes with a detachable cone of fire. Fun note about playability. I actually used this mini in an adventure. Some of you old school players might remember a boxed adventure called Dragon Mountain. Great adventure, by the way. 2 takeaways from that adventure: you'll never underestimate kobolds again, and this guy in the final battle. It was pretty clunky moving this mini around the battle map, but it sure was fun. Score: Paint 17, Pose 22, Playability 10, Pizzazz 25, for a score of 74. A couple of years later, we get a young Red Dragon mini in 2008's Dungeons of Dread set. Again, not seeing a lot of color variation in our reds so far, with just a bit of white for the horns and teeth and a black maw to offset the red. Pose-wise, he's our most energetic of our reds so far, affecting a similar pose as the Colossal Red, but with just a bit more aggressive from the claws and fangs. Score: Paint 14, pose 19, playability 15, pizzazz 14, for a score of 62. A couple of months later, WotC gives us their last Red Dragon mini, the Elder Red Dragon in the Against the Giants set. He has the blood red body and ringed red to dark wings of the Dragon Eye mini, the yellow underbelly of the GOL Wormling, and a black spine running from head to tail that's all its own. Pose-wise, he's even more passive than our last huge red dragon, calmly sitting on his hind legs, tail curled forward, and gaze almost serene. Really, this mini screams for a pile of treasure on the base to complete the look. Score: Paint 17, Pose 15, Playability 20, Pizzazz 15, for a score of 67. Just like the black, blue, and green before it, WizKids came right out of the gate with a red dragon in their inaugural Tyranny of Dragons set. And like its chromatic brethren, we catch this red mid-flight. This is a great mini. With its wings at the apex prior to a powerful downstroke, this mini is one of the tallest to date, really capturing the battlefield. The position of the wings also show the great effect, the color variations from front to back, and the mid-flight pose shows off the whitish underbelly stretching from the bottom of the jaw to the tip of the tail. Playability does take a hit due to the flimsy stand, however. Score: Paint 22, Pose 25, Playability 20, Pizzazz 24, for a score of 91. WizKids give us their so far only Red Dragon Wormling in 2017's Monster Menagerie set, and this little guy is light years better than the WotC version. Like the previous mini, the positioning of the wings greatly show off the color variations from top to bottom. White for the fangs, wingtips, horns, and claws complete the look. Yet another up on its hind legs pose, but again, the wings, positioned one fully outstretched forward and the other swept back, give this mini a unique look. Score: Paint 21, Pose 23, Playability 20, Pizzazz 21, for a score of 85. WizKids continues to up their game with a young Red Dragon mini from 2020's Fangs and Talons set. A much brighter red than the previous Red Dragons, combined with a white underbelly neck to tail tip and white claws, wingtips, and horns. Of course, the most outstanding feature of this mini is the translucent blast of fire coming from its maw. Many times I have mentioned a dragon pose that appears to me to be pulling up to unleash their respective breath weapon. Here we actually see it. Amazing mini, great pain and pose. How can I not? Give this mini a score of 100. We get our final Red Dragon as a special release in 2023's Dragonlance War of the Dragon Queen set. And it truly is special. Again, we get a two-tone red on the body and wings and whitish gray elsewhere, but we also have a gunmetal gray breastplate and gauntlets with gold filigree. Pose-wise, this mini is ultra dramatic, slightly tilted while sweeping down for an attack, or perhaps to, voila, give his rider an angle to hurl his spear. Yes, this is another mini that comes with the ability to add a rider, in this case, Kinsaldi, a commander in the army of Takesis. Can WizKids really go back-to-back 100 scores? Yes, they can. Give this mini a 100 as well. But wait, there's more. If you saw the last video, you know I added one of the secondary chromatic dragons to the end. Second verse, same as the first. The Grey Dragon, also known as a Fang Dragon, first appeared in 1993's Monsters Compendium Annual Volume 1. Poor flyers, but excellent melee fighters with a bite that can drain the life force from a victim. Tiamat later granted them an acid breath weapon because why not? Greys are generally found in rocky areas. They are cruel and aggressive, but will quickly bargain for their lives if cornered.
Fun fact, greys are excellent mimics, able to duplicate any sound they have previously heard.
We get our first gray, called a large fang dragon, in 2006's War of the Dragon Queen set. Right off, you'll notice it's brown, not gray, which actually is color correct, as they can be either color. It's really brown, though, with only a speck of white and pink on the mouth. The pose denotes aggression, head raised, perhaps at an airborne threat, and stubby wings and forked tail clearly visible. Playability is fair, and it could be used as a brown dragon in a pinch, so score. Paint 10, pose 14, playability 13, pizzazz 12, for a score of 49. Three years later, we get our second gray dragon in 2009's Monster Manual Savage Encounters. Now this guy looks much better to me, the mottled gray of his hide giving perfect camouflage to his preferred rocky terrain. Nice touch getting the creature correct red eye color, by the way. The pose has him low to the ground, crouching almost as if prepared to launch an attack. I also like the line of spikes running down the forked tail. If I need a gray, this is the one I'm using. Score: Paint 15, Pose 16, Playability 12, Pizzazz 18, for a score of 69.
And that's it. We're done with the reds and grays. We'll finish up with the chromatic dragons next time, featuring everybody's favorite Arctic lizard, the white dragon. Plus, we'll delve deep into the Underdark to review the purple dragons. Thanks again for watching Eye of the Beholder, and let me know what you think in the comments.